All right, it is 5:30 on the dot, and I will call the Joint Review Board meeting on October 22nd, 2025 to order. We'll do a roll call. So Kristen Runge,
Here.
Lori Gregg,
Here.
Adam Gallagher's absent, Heather Murray,
Here.
and Brad Hogard.
Quick pause there. I believe Brad first needs to be appointed as a member of the JRB, so he won't be seated until after that item occurs.
Okay, so let's take that item up. The first item on the agenda is appointment of a public member.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Brad Hogard to serve as our public member.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And then we can go to a chairperson. So we will appoint a chairperson. I'll take nominations for a chair.
Can I nominate myself?
I'll second that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Kristen, I'll let you take over.
Thank you, Carla. Next item on the agenda then, and thank you very much, Carla. Welcome, Brad. Welcome, Heather. You're new to the Joint Review Board as well. Casey, Lori, good to see you all today. Next item on the agenda.
Quick note, Kristen, I do
Yes.
see Dr. Brown, the school district superintendent, is in as an attendee. And Dr. Brown, at any time you want to participate with a question specifically on the topics discussed, if you want to click raise hand, I'll bring you in to be a participant, okay? Oh, no, there was a hand raised and then it went away.
All right. And welcome, Dr. Brown. It's good to see you today, too. All right. Next item on our agenda then is review the annual PE 300 reports and the performance and status of incremental tax districts number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I think I incorrectly stated 3.
Kristen, can we just go, we have minutes on the agenda too. Is that, do you
okay.
see that on? I sent,
all right.
you see those on your agenda?
I do not see that on my agenda, but that should be on the agenda.
Then then never mind. Let's skip that and we'll leave it for next year.
All right. Do you want us to move to approve the minutes? Review the minutes? Okay.
No, if they're not on your agenda, I don't want to take that motion. We must have crossed agenda, so apologize.
Okay.
We'll just take it up next time. All
right, then on to review the annual PE 300 reports and the performance and status of the tax increment districts. And I believe that is over to you, Todd.
Thank you. So as you just foreshadowed, TID number 3 should not be on there. We duplicated the list from last year's agenda. However, that TID has been closed and therefore there is no further reporting, but we will run through 4 through 9. The requirement for this body each year is to review the PE 300 form, which is that really uninteresting form that gives you a one-year snapshot of revenues and expenditures, but doesn't really give you any insights into how the TID is doing from a financial perspective. So to that end, we prepare updated forward-looking cash flow reports, which is what we'll spend our time on. We've included complete copies of those within your agenda packet, but due to the number of active TIDs that the village has, similar to the last couple years, we've prepared a abbreviated slide presentation where we will hit the highlights of each TID. However, if you had any questions or would like to dive into greater detail within those full reports, we're more than happy to do that. This year, my colleague Casey Griffiths prepared the updates as well as the presentation. So Casey's going to share his screen, bring that slide deck up, and walk us through each TID in a summary fashion.
Thank you, Todd. Todd Schmidt, I just actually requested to go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, is everybody able to see the screen I have? Great. All right. So we're going to just do summary of each of the districts. These are summaries Todd had mentioned of the annual reports that we had prepared for the village for each of the districts. So we'll just begin here with TID number 4. So TID number 4 is the Stokely site senior center and housing. The key dates were the creation was December 2nd of 2002, and the end of the expenditure period was December 2nd of 2024. End of TID life was April 7th of 2025. Just to note here, district activity, the board did adopt a resolution to close the district as of April 7th of 2025. So this will be the final year of this report. Or final year, this 2025 will be the final year that the district will create, will have increment. The incremental value, the final will be 9,589,400. That's a change of about 3.6 million from the incremental value in 2023. It ended a year with a fund balance of 47,285, which is a negative change of 45,932 from 2023. As you can see, we provided a map here, which all the slides show the map of the location of each of the districts. Going on to the next page, this is just a cash flow projection showing the current year or most recent audited statements, which was 2024 in that blue highlighted area, showing total revenues of 112,921 over expenditures of 158,853. And that's where you get that the decrease of or the a deficit of 45,932. Which then shows a cumulative balance of 47,285. The 2025 year shown here is it says projected closure, but that will be the closure of the final year that the district will generate revenue or generate increment in revenue. Any questions?
I do, if I can jump in quick, Casey, I do want to
Sure.
share, especially for Heather and Brad, who are new to the JRB process and to sort of doing the deeper dive into the villages, TIF districts. We're happy to, the numbers are one thing, but there's a lot more to the story on each of these districts and our journey with the districts. If you have any questions or wish for a deeper dive in any aspect on these, I and our fellow staff and other, ongoing members of the JRB, along with others, can help try to answer those. So don't hesitate if you do have those questions.
And I just wanted to add, this is Renee, that the TID 4 closeout audit is currently in progress. So we should be all wrapped up by the end of 2025 with everything, all the requirements of the state to put this one to bed.
One interesting side note on this district is we were actually on a trajectory towards sooner closure that could have been possible, except that this elements of the groundwater movement around the village center changed after we completed our first version of cleanup, and actually residual odors and sort of groundwater issues presented themselves over the past 5 years. I'll give a lot of credit to the Village Center team, Sue McDade, Ayers and Associates, who are our environmental engineers, who really worked hard on that, and we got DNR closure this past year on that residual issue.
Okay, great. Okay, moving to TID number 5, which is the downtown district. No significant activity for this year in the report for this district. The key dates for it are November 1st of 2004 was when it was created. It has an expenditure period that will end on November of 2026, and the end of its maximum life would be November 1st of 2031. The increment value decreased from 2024 to 2025 by about $8 million. So we have an incremental value this year of 42,015,000. It did end 2024 with a fund balance of 395,753. So it's a total change from the previous year's fund balance of $274,000. The projected closure year from last year's report to this year's report does not change at all. We still are projecting the district to be able to close in 2025, and I'll explain that in a minute here on the next slide, which is that's showing the projected closure of 2025 in that green section there. That just simply means that the district's cumulative fund balance has generated enough revenue to offset any outstanding liabilities. So not necessarily meaning that it needs to close at that particular time. It just we show that as being that any liabilities that the district has outstanding is able to be offset by existing revenue that's within the district. As you can see here, the 2024 is highlighted as the most audited financial statements. Total revenues are 556,502, offset by total expenditures of 282,215, which gets that annual revenue versus expenditures at 274,287, and that showing that positive cumulative fund balance of 395,753. Any questions on this district?
I feel like Larry McCarran wanting to offer color commentary. Can I do?
You sure can, Todd.
Yeah. Again, really with Heather and Brad in mind, but this district has really been a journey for the village with really serious downs and then ups. If you recall on the prior page, Casey showed when this district kicked off, it was that early 2000s maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If you think back to right around that time, the economy fell apart. And upon creation of the district, the village invested in purchasing a number of properties, which are where the Madison and Main development is now on Main Street, an apartment building with some commercial on the lower level. Not only did we purchase those properties, but we also had hazardous cleanup to complete, which include building a portion of, is it Bacon? I'm trying to think which street it is. Anyway, there's a little street that curls behind Madison and Main, which actually is a cap on some of the heavy metal contaminants that were discovered there on that property. That was at the outside of this district. So big expense on the village's end of things. Then the economy goes away and this district turns red like immediately and badly. When I arrived 15 years ago, it was still that way. I remember that was a real priority of the village boards at that time to address the concern. And we actually took a unique approach. Well, it's not, I mean, it does occur in other places, but with underperforming districts like this one was, which isn't uncommon for a downtown district, where there's not a lot of greenfield site, it's all redevelopment. But we utilized another district, which is now closed, the Arboretum Office Park District, as a donor district to support the financial condition of this one. And we're thankful that it did, because that got us through the 2014 Main Street reconstruction project, which really brought new life to Main Street, which then brought in commercial interest to make investments in Main Street. That collection of activities brought this district, if you go back to the next page, Casey, to having the ability to retire early, which 15, 17 years ago, we were really worried about. So this is a good success story in a couple different ways. Todd was along for the ride in helping us navigate this from Ellers. So happy to answer any questions about our journey with this district if you have them.
Okay. So moving along to TID number 6. The key dates for this district were creation in July 20th of 2015. The expenditure period is July 20th of 2030 with an end of life 2035. The incremental value did decrease for this district, moving from 111,320 in 2024 to 100,450,000 in 2025. So that represents about a $10 million decrease, or $10.8 million decrease in this incremental value. The projected closure year still remains the same from last year's report, which is 2029. And the year-end fund balance from 2024 to 2023 is a positive change, 466,319. The district's activity in 2024, the project plan was amended to add territory as well as project costs as the Kilkenny West area. And then and Todd and Renee may be able to speak more to this particular item, but the Aldi grocery store and car wash that was announced with construction potentially beginning at some point in the future here. The cash flow projections here, again, showing a positive cumulative fund balance for the district, are projected to, in 2025, have a little bit of a decrease in terms of the revenues versus or total revenues versus expenditures, primarily related to development incentives for the district beginning in 2025. But overall, cumulative fund balance, it's very healthy. Projected closure, again, still showing 2029 from last year's report. Again, that's just when the district is able to support the outstanding liabilities that it has outstanding. So with that, we are happy to answer any questions, or if Todd and Renee wanted to kind of chime in related to some future development projects that are on the horizon.
I'd love for Renee to give a brief update.
I can give an update. Sorry, I had to dash out there during tip 5 because somebody was here for the CDA meeting, which is tomorrow night. So had to take care of that. But for TID 6, yes, the Aldi is well underway. As I think most of you that live in Waunakee have seen. And I do believe the car wash, I don't know when they're going to be starting, but I do believe that should be coming on board as well fairly soon. I don't know, maybe Todd knows more on that one.
Well, I see the gravel pad ready. But yeah, the Aldi should be done within the first couple months of 26. Also, in support of the commercial area for that Kilkenny West area, frankly, Kilkenny East too, is additional residential development that's not contained in the TIF district, but surrounding in the K West area. I don't know exactly how many homes are permitted there. You know, if you're looking at the AB area, that it's the homes are south and west of that area. There's got to be, boy, I'm guessing maybe 30 permits in there right now. Altogether, the village is at about 90 so far this year, but they're moving along there pretty well. And I only say that because I do believe that having that residential growth occurring in these commercial areas adds to the viability of the district in terms of demand that will support commercial development.
Okay. On to TID 7, which is our new error. This is a district that was created in February of 2016. Has an end of expenditure period in February of 2038 and an end of life of February of 2044. We're projecting current closure year to be the same as it was in the last year's annual report, which is 2028. No notable activity for the district at this point. We have a year-end fund balance for 2024 is being 339,322, which is a change of 63,000 from last year's fund balance. So a positive fund balance still. Incremental value also increased from 2024 to 2025. We ended 2024 incremental value was at 4.9 million. So that was an increase of 416,900. Onto the next slide, which is the cash flow projections out. Overall, strong district that has a cumulative fund balance in the positive. As you can see there, the blue highlighted section, that's the current year's report. 127,563 of total revenue off of 62,607 in total expenditures. Again, showing that annual revenues versus expenditures of a positive fund balance of 62,956, and then that positive fund balance there for 2024, 23-22. Overall, again, the cumulative fund balance is showing in the positive. The increments are showing, and other revenues are showing in the positive. So overall, district is in a healthy position. As noted here, again, projected closure highlighted in green is 2028. Again, that's when the cumulative fund balance of the district is able to support any liabilities that are outstanding for the district.
I'll throw in a bit of background again. And Casey, I realize this is a bit for you too, isn't it? Is this your
It
first
is.
ARB
Yes,
with
this is my
us?
first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is helping you out too. This is a unique district for the village in that it's a single building, a single business. This also is a straight up pure development incentive attraction PAYGO approach to attracting a company to Waunakee that was considering multiple other locations. In this case, it was Renew Air that had outgrown their space. Renew Air does high efficiency air exchange units for mostly commercial and industrial properties. Um, they were running out of space in Madison and were pursuing other options to stay in the area in Dane County, and we were one of those areas that was vying to attract them. What we had, and the reason we wanted to attract them, was a vacant building. The building they're in had been vacant for a number of years. It used to be the home to Cogdell Spencer. Cogdell Spencer was a hospital supply material supplier. Um, anyway, they consolidated, moved location, and they had been empty for perhaps a handful of years. So our interest was seeing that property activated, jobs being brought back to the business park, and that's why the village board pursued this as a TIF district for that purpose. And as I understand it, they're doing pretty well as a business company here.
All right. On to TID number 5. This is the Hovde project. The key dates for the district were it was created in February of 2018. The end of the expenditure period is February of 2040, with an end of life of February of 2046. Projected closure year has not changed from last year's report. We are still anticipating a project closure year of 2034. Incremental value did decrease from last year's report by about 6.6 million. So we see incremental value as 31,824,100 in 2025. Also, year-end fund balance was still still positive. However, there was a decrease from last year's fund balance overall of 16,082. And just some district activity was noted in a report which included Grace Coffee was completed and opened in 2023. The cash flow projections here, again, the blue items showing current audited financial statements. So total revenues were 402,000 compared to 419,000 for expenditures. That's where that decrease overall, that was the district ran a deficit in 2024, resulting in that cumulative fund balance being a little lower than what it was in the previous years. However, the following year, 2025, we are projecting based on the projected increments generated in 25 to be back into the positive fund balance, positive fund balance with revenues exceeding expenditures. And then just drawing attention to the 2034, that projected closure year, again, that is when the fund balance is able to, the district's fund balance is able to be offset by outstanding liabilities there. So not necessarily meaning that the district would close in any of those years, but would have the option to do so. But there may be other future projects that the village would want to undertake at that period after that time period as well too. So with that, any questions or Todd, any additional comments?
Yeah, this would be a really good slide to have a couple before and after photos. If you can go back to the last slide, this was created and sort of is categorized as an overlay district in that, if you remember TID 5, portions of this property are on top of what is still TID 5. But as Casey explained, TID 5 is nearing the end of its useful life, and the village was not done with hopeful redevelopment activity on Main Street. So the instigator project or area to this was the portion of the Main Street block directly north of the Quick Trip. And and this is where that the before and after picture would be great. But if you close your eyes and picture that stretch of that block, it was a hodgepodge of buildings that all had seen a better day. Um, and Hovde was interested, based on the success of their Village Crossing project, they were interested in continued investment in Waunakee, but they wanted to work on a housing project to bring more families and individuals to the downtown area, and that's what that portion of block became. It became the Lamp House, which is a beautiful three-story um, mixed use, but it primarily residential, market rate residential structure, and that's been a good addition to um, um, bring bring a bring a new life to that portion of the block. So whenever we do a TIF district creation, even though that was the instigator instigator project, it's always a good time to pause and say, hey, are there other areas that might be important to us as we go about what is a pretty detailed, lengthy, and complicated process to create a TIF district. So the board did that and looked carefully at the remainder properties in the area that may have potential for investment or reinvestment in the future. And that's why the blob of this district looks the way it does. Happy if Kristen, were you along for the ride on some of maybe was that just after you, maybe?
I think, yeah, I don't think I was around for this one.
Renee was here, I know. Todd was here. All right, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Finally, we'll go to TID number 9, which is the Octopi expansion. This is a district that was created February of 2018, had an expenditure period that ends in February of 2033, and then termination date of February of 2039. District boundaries and project costs were amended in September of 23 as part of the newcomer project. And then I believe Ashai is am I saying that correct, Todd? Acquired
No,
Octopi?
you're not.
No, I'm not. Uh-oh.
Asahi.
Asahi. Okay. Asahi acquired Octopi on early 2024, and they're currently making additional improvements in 2025. The incremental value of the district increased from valuation in 2024 to 2025, about $7.1 million. The year-ending fund balance was a change of 276,094. So 2023 showed a negative fund balance, negative cumulative fund balance for the district. 2024, the district was in the positive 234,030. The projected closure year did change from last year's report. So we had originally projected in 2020 in 2024, the 2023 report of the current year closure 2028, that the prior year, I'm sorry, current year report is 2028, prior year report was 2031. My apologies for that. So we're showing the district is able to close sooner than we had originally anticipated in last year's report. This is again the cash flow projections for the district. Again, drawing attention to that blue square, 2024 current year audited financials, 300,312 in total revenue, offset by total expenditures of 23,408. We'll see expenditures increase starting in 2025 as developer incentives come online, which begins in 2025 with the $281,000 you see there in the middle. However, increments are expected to be generated. The tax increment for the district's expected to generate so that we still have annual fund balance or annual positive fund balances moving forward. And again, that shows the projected closure again in the green. Again, that's just a projected closure date, not necessarily the date that the district will need to close. But when the cumulative balance over the district can offset any liabilities that are outstanding. With that, Todd, if you have any additional comments.
Yeah, this was also an overlay district for a similar reason as our business park district was aging. And we saw continued opportunities with a few of our remaining properties that were available for development. I think the only thing I'll add here is obviously Newcomer Supply is a great success story locating in Waunakee, and we're really glad that they're here. Cool laboratory style or laboratory high-tech industry to add to our economy. But what you don't see in the numbers in terms of value created is actually the mechanical equipment investment that Asahi made in the Octopi facility after they bought it. They made substantial investments. I'm talking like $40+ million on equipment inside the guts of the building to be able to produce the specialty product that is their flagship there. That's Asahi Super Dry, which is the most popular beer in Japan. And this is their North American headquarters for distribution to the United States and Canada. So they converted again, they put many millions of dollars investing into equipment, which isn't taxable for our property taxes, but does represent their commitment to long-time viability here. And they are in a continuous process of hiring. This has gone from upon start 9 years ago with Octopi of 7 employees to I believe now they're getting close to 300 is my guess. And last I heard they've got 50 more openings to fill. So really a great success story, and we're doing well by them, and I hope they are by us too.
And I'll chime in and say it's just fantastic that we have them in town. We're very excited to have Asahi here.
I think as we wrap up the reports, it's also worth noting that the village did create TID number 10 in late 2023. There is no report for that because TIDs don't become subject to reporting until the first year after the first instance in which they can collect tax increments. So for TID number 10, the first year that it can collect tax increment is this upcoming 2026 budget year. So when we convene this meeting 2027, we'll be adding TID 10 to the menu.
Casey, if you want to go back to the last slide, I can just point out for everyone here that TID 10 is essentially those parcels just north of Octopi. If you want to put your cursor there, those are owned by Asahi, and also the property north of that that's vacant between that area and Highway 19-113, which essentially is the rest of the undeveloped land within our business park, our existing business park.
Right. Well, that concludes what we have. If there are, again, any additional questions that the members have, happy to answer any of those.
So thank you, Casey and Todd, and let's open it up to the group for questions. And Dr. Brown, if you have a question as well, you're welcome to.
And I also see Trustee Heineman is on.
Oh, hello, Trustee Heineman. And Trustee Heineman, if you have any questions too.
Yep. If either of you want to jump in, click raise hand, and I'll bring you in and add you to the conversation. Or questions from our other JRB members here.
I mean, I'm the newbie. I don't have any questions, but I've lived in Waunakee since 2000. So I've been familiar with all these TIDs, having followed them. So appreciate all your work putting this together.
Thank you, Brad.
And I have to say, my kids went to school in Waunakee. We're just outside of Waunakee. It's great to see the development downtown. I wished some of it was sooner because my kids were in sports and there wasn't a whole lot to do. And now we bring the dog to occupy. And it's very nice, very nice.
Thank you, Lori. Any other questions or comments?
Hope I see Dr. Brown. Let me promote her in. You should be, Dr. Brown, you should be coming in here in just a moment.
Can you guys hear me at this point?
We can hear you, Dr. Brown.
Okay, all right, thank you. So this is my first experience here in Waunakee. Certainly did this kind of work in my previous district. And it's just really powerful, I would say, and enlightening for me to just see how the growth is occurring in the community. And as we know, all of this growth can be a direct correlation to what's happening in the school district, and can make a determination as to why individuals decide to come to move to Waunakee or not. So it's certainly a variable in decision making in that space. And so it was really great to hear about all of the TIDs today. And I'm excited to see what is yet to come as we move forward in Waunakee.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions?
Maybe could I sort of put Heather on the spot? Heather, as you're getting involved in the school board now, what sort of from you and your fellow school board members, what sort of curiosities or questions do you or have you heard from them about the village's TIF districts or a general strategy related to the use of TIF? Is there much chatter recently?
I haven't heard any at the moment. I mean, that hasn't come through. So with who's on this board right now.
You've got other fires, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Heather. So seeing no further questions, or I'll ask one last time, are there any other questions? Right, seeing none, I believe that our next action then is to make a motion to acknowledge the filing of annual reports and compliance with the annual meeting requirements. And so I will move that. I make a motion that we acknowledge the filing of the annual reports and compliance with the annual meeting requirements.
Second.
All right, do we have any discussion on the motion? Right. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And then, as we say, we have time for one final motion. It'd be a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Nice try, Dr. Brown.
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all, both for the report, Casey and Todd, Renee and Todd, for the work.